everyone. David DeLuca again, Storage Solutions Architect at AWS, and also one of your hosts for today. I'd like to introduce Dave Falker, who is a Storage Hero and Chief Platform Engineer at Direct Supply, and Jen Dela Cruz from the AWS Training and Certification Team.
Great, thanks, Dave. Last year at Storage Day, we unveiled the AWS Storage Knowledge Badges. You can build and validate your knowledge on areas such as object, block, and file, and then build on that with data protection and disaster recovery and data migration. To get started, there are 4 easy steps. So first, you register for a free AWS Skill Builder account. Anyone can sign up and get instant access. Second, enroll in a Storage Knowledge Badge readiness path. No prior cloud experience is necessary to enroll. Each course in the path is designed to be self-paced for people of all experience levels. Third, once you're ready, you take the badge assessment to test your knowledge. And finally, step 4, you get your badge. And badges are just digitally distributed via AWS partner Credly, and you will need to have a Credly account to claim your badge. So let's go to a short demo on how to enroll in one of the storage paths. And we'll start at the catalog of the knowledge badge readiness paths in AWS Skill Builder. So in AWS Skill Builder, you will find various paths. A knowledge badge readiness path presents domain-specific content and includes courses, knowledge checks, and a knowledge badge assessment. As an example, we'll look at the block storage path, and this path provides you with a comprehensive plan put together by our block storage subject matter experts. When you select Enroll, you are immediately enrolled in all of the courses within the path. And then to begin the path, you click Start Learning Now. The digital classes are listed in order, starting from the foundational level to help you begin to build your skills, and knowledge to ultimately more advanced content. You can follow the plan in order or bounce around based on where you want to build your skills. And at the end of the path is the knowledge badge assessment. The assessment evaluates your knowledge based on the courses in the path. So we do recommend completing the courses first. However, it is not required in order to take the assessment. For the assessment, there is no time limit. You can take as much time as needed, pause it, take a break, and resume it when you are ready to continue. And if you don't earn a passing score, we provide a score report that provides targeted information on topics and technology that you may need to review in preparation to retake the assessment. Once you've passed the assessment with a score of 80% or better, Credly will email the details for the digital badge that you are being awarded. And that is how you access the Storage Knowledge Badge readiness paths. So on screen, you should see a diagram of the collection of storage badges. Dave and Dave, both of you have earned storage technologist. So can you tell me about your experience working towards becoming a storage technologist and achieving the badges overall?
For sure. I'll jump in first.
Absolutely.
So I had earned my AWS Solutions Architect Associate certificate a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And when the badges were announced last summer, I thought it would be a good opportunity to dive in and just check all my knowledge on the storage platforms. Yeah. AWS is constantly evolving, and these programs are a really good way to learn stuff that you may not have exposure to in your day-to-day cloud, travels. So when these were announced last year, I was just kicking off a large file server migration. And so the file services were very familiar and fresh to me. So I jumped in and just took the knowledge check right away without going through all the course information, so I could get a feel for the exam, the type of questions, how deep into each service they were going to go. And while I got a passing score on the first time, it definitely taught me that I needed to go through those other courses, just because there's a lot that I know and a lot that I just haven't had to work with and had built that domain knowledge. So,
okay.
yeah. Dave, how about you?
Well, and I think I can echo that as well, because we're so feature rich, and a lot of times that as a solutions architect, I'm used to a lot of the topics that customers bring up, but there are always a subset of features that I don't deal with every day, and it's a chance to learn those. So you might, like you said, David, sometimes I got the question right, but you go back and say, wow, I really don't know as much about that specific topic as I probably should, and it really triggers a thought to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper and learn something that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting point that you guys make, and it goes back to what I talked about earlier, which you don't have to take all of the courses in progression. You can bounce around, or you can take, like you did, Dave, take the assessment first to kind of baseline where you are. What are some other tips that you have about the progression of the badges?
I just rocked it out over a weekend. So I blocked off the time to really get deep on it and really focus on it. And I got the first three, so the file storage, the block storage, and the object storage done all in a weekend, and felt really good about hitting that storage core badge kind of milestone.
Yeah.
And then I gave myself a week off, and then I went back and got the other two.
I guess that's why they call you a hero.
Well, we try.
What about you, Dave?
Personally, I think you should start with whichever topic you're most comfortable with. So if you're most familiar with Object and S3, then start there. If you're more of a block or a file person, start there, because it gives you a chance to get comfortable with the badges and the way they're laid out. And then from there, advance on to the ones that maybe you're not as familiar with. And again, you're bound to learn, even if you're an expert and even if you've worked with AWS for a long time, you're bound to pick up a few extra bits of knowledge that will be helpful.
So say a little bit more about what these knowledge paths added for you, what the value add for you was.
Go ahead, Dave. You want to go first?
Sure. So one of the things that I learned while going through this is that I think with an engineer and architect brain. So and also, I think with a lot of the constraints of my own environment that I'm building in. So stepping into these exams pushed me outside of that like default pattern area. Cost is always something I'm conscious of, but specifically architecting for cost, when you're working in your own environment, there are constraints that maybe might push one decision over another that doesn't necessarily align with going for the lowest cost. So I had to learn to think differently as I was working through the exams and step outside of how I've always done things.
And I think that's a key point. And we deal with that a lot talking to customers, that their instinct is always to just go maybe into the cheapest storage class. But in a lot of cases, that doesn't make sense, and it will actually cost more in the long run. So
Exactly.
when you take that approach in really taking a design approach in these exams, because a lot of questions are based around what is the best way to do this? How should you architect it? How should you think about it? So I agree completely. And also, Jen, I think the best part is that the AWS storage portfolio has grown so much, and part of what the badges have done is shown that, right? Again, I mean, we have 3 different topics just within object, file, and block. I don't think a lot of customers realize that the portfolio has become very deep and very wide, and this is really a chance to show that in more detail.
Nice, nice. So maybe to sort of round it out a little bit, a question for either of you. We have experts and new storage learners, both in our audience, people who use on-premises and cloud storage. So why would you advise all of our audience to take on this additional learning and to earn storage badges?
Wow. I'll echo what Dave just said, is the portfolio has grown so much, and there are so many storage capabilities that didn't exist 3 years ago, didn't exist 5 years ago, that if you're coming from a data center environment, or maybe you haven't built in the cloud for a while, this is a really great opportunity to really ramp up quickly in the AWS storage portfolio and be challenged on how well you've learned that information and retained it.
And I think it also helps from a career perspective. Again, not only are you going to learn, but it's a chance to then, once the badge is issued, you have the ability to share it. You can share that on LinkedIn. You can share it on other social media sites, and let everyone know that you've become more knowledgeable in this particular discipline.
That's right. Absolutely.
Thank you both. I appreciate both of you for being here.
Absolutely.
Coming up next is going to be the Storage Day wrap-up with Jeff Barr.